Operation Branchform. Obviously, you've done sterling work on this story. The Sunday Mail, we had our own story last week about a legal curb on Peter Murrell, who's the husband of Nicola Sturgeon. Basically, he's been blocked from selling any property, and that property is the family home he has with Nicola Sturgeon in Uddingston near Glasgow. What did you make of that story, and what are your reflections on where we're at with Branchform?
So of course the situation as it stands is that Peter Murrell has been charged by the police. Nicola Sturgeon and Colin Beattie have not, but they have been interviewed under caution, and we haven't really heard anything else for quite a long time on it. I mean, there's two things that could be happening. Either there are things happening behind the scenes that we don't know about. Nicola Sturgeon, when she was interviewed about this, said that she hasn't heard from the police since she was taken in and interviewed. That she didn't mention whether her soon-to-be ex-husband was in the same position. So it could be that things are happening and this could all be concluded quite quickly. Or it may be the case that just, we're in a situation where nobody can take a decision. It does feel like it's been an awful long time now, and that there can't really be any practical barrier to this case being resolved. That it is clearly having a material impact in the functioning of Scotland's democracy and politics to have this thing hanging over the governing party, and it would be in the best interest of everybody that get resolved as soon as possible. And really, I mean, I can remember a few months ago, or in fact, many months ago now, people were talking about whether they would get this resolved before the Westminster election. It now looks like we could potentially be in a situation where it's going to interfere with
which is crazy,
the Holyrood election next year, which, and this is just going to fuel conspiracy theories about the UK government using this as leverage to damage the nationalists. The best thing would be that one way or the other it gets resolved. It can't. I'm sure it's quite a complicated case, but it can't be that complicated. We're now many years down the line. The Crown Office needs to decide what they're going to do and do it.
Do you not think, Doug, I see if the SNP and John Swinney drew up a risk register for themselves just now, the NHS would be on it, and so would Branchform, just in terms of political dangers.
I mean, yeah, absolutely. I think John's talking about conspiracy theories, that this is, the UK government. There's on the other hand, there's people that think that, people are trying to subdue this so that, the SNP figures aren't arrested, charged, and whatnot, all of which is nonsense. It's just taken, an awful long time. But we focus a lot on the damage it's doing to the SNP and the political cost of it. I think ultimately, and everyone in here knows, I'm no fan of Nicola Sturgeon. I'm no fan of Peter Murrell. But there's a human cost to this as well. They've had this hanging over them for 4 years, and in this country we operate on an assumption of innocence until proven otherwise, and it just feels like their reputations are getting kind of dragged through the mud. Now it may come down the line where the situation changes, but as of right now, Murrell was charged in April last year. It's almost a year away, and he's no idea is it going to go to court, or is he going to get dropped. I mean, the pressure must be horrific on them, and it's a drain on the taxpayer as well. It's costing a fortune.